Welcome to the Collaborating Focus session at Consulting Unleashed today. Today, I'm going to be talking about probably one of the most important things that has impacted on our lives probably for more than 25 years, but in the last 10 years, it has made a very significant impact on our behavior. It has made a very significant impact on the way that we buy things, the way we purchase and invest. It has also made a very, very significant impact on how we interact. And at the same time, right now, it is probably one of the most critical pieces of technology that that a lot of people in business are underestimating. And a lot of people haven't realized how to perhaps take advantage of something that can be literally a game changer for your business. And in this time where businesses have to become more visible, in this time that businesses have to become more relevant to their customers and to their audiences, this is something we can't not pay attention to. And one of the things that we've been talking about is this concept of the buyer behavior. But additionally to the buyer behavior, we also need to think about what is the way that we can approach or actively engage or make it easy for somebody to come to us and say, hey, I need to talk to you, or hey, I'm interested in at least having a conversation with you. Because at the end of the day, from our point of view or our business perspective, to win the game, we've got to be having business conversations, right? To win the game, we've got to be in the mode of conversing. If we are not conversing, if we're not engaging, then we're kind of not in business. And it's funny, I've been having this conversation with quite a few people lately in terms of what they've been working on and what their projects are and how many clients they bring on board. In fact, I just got off a call with our consulting champions, and we had one of our champions who just closed a 5K Facebook ad deal with a company that she'd been following up and had been very resisting to spending money on advertising. And now they've gone, you know what, we have to spend money on advertising. So she just signed up a 5K a month client for somebody who was very anti and now is going, you know what, if we're not on Facebook, we're nowhere. So understand that the name of the game is what are you doing? What are you doing to maximize your opportunity to convert or bring on a paying customer in your business? And you need to be doing at least one client every 10 days. That's about the cadence you want to be getting into. And you need to be making sure that you're bringing at least one client on a month. If you haven't brought on a client last month and you didn't put any cash flow in the bank account, then you are going to have some real problems in your business. And a lot of freelancers get caught up in this. So the key here, a lot of the sessions that we do here is how do we engage, how do we acquire, how do we actually move the needle getting customers to come on board. And so it's really weird. I've been having this conversation I'm about to share with you with quite a lot of people. And it's kind of, there's a little bit of a resurgence and there's going to be a very big impact. In fact, this is probably one of the areas from a marketing point of view that there's going to be significant growth, and both at a local level and a B2B level, very much so on the B2B level. But the question I would like to ask you is, think about how does what I'm about to share with you apply to the strategy that you're delivering to the marketplace. So what I'm about to talk about is the question I want you to ask yourself is, how does what I do impact what you're about to see? Okay, so that's the question. How does it apply to me? How does what I do, how can I use what I do to have an impact in this area? Because it is the most significant form of connection that you have with the entire world. And it is probably the biggest thing that is changing the way that we behave. And in many ways, and not in a good way, by the way, not in a good way, in a lot of ways, in a very negative way. However, there are some incredible positives to this if you get this right. So let's get into the presentation. I'm going to share my screen with you. We're going to hit the presentation bar here. Buying behavior, right? And the reason why I want to focus on buying behavior is this is, to me, the easiest way to have a conversation about acquiring a customer is talking about understanding how customers buy from them. You know, rather than saying to people, hey, I want to bring you a whole bunch of leads, what if we actually focused on targeting people who actually want to buy? What if we actually looked at conversion? What if we looked at the journey of the buyer? What if we had that conversation with people? If you have that conversation with business owners, they're going to be more willing to listen than you saying, hey, let's go and get some leads, right? If you're talking conversion, if you're talking the buying behavior of a prospective customer, not their buying behavior, but the customer's buying behavior, then you've got something that you're actually you're on a more relevant path to people. And right now we need buyers. Everybody needs buyers. We're coming out of lockdown. We're releasing some of our restrictions over the coming month. We are getting back into business and people want customers. And there's this beautiful gap that is being opened up right now with a whole bunch of people who've left the market, a whole bunch of people coming into the market, but there's people who are hanging in there who've got a little bit smart, know that there's this gap, and we are heading for the mini boom over the next 3 to 6 months. So let's talk about this concept of the buying behavior, right? So, most powerful computer in the world is this device. We live with this 24/7, right? We go to sleep with this. Some of us disgustingly take it into the bathroom with us, right? We're constantly, right, attached to this device. In fact, if we leave home without it, we feel a sense of great grief and loss. How many people hate it when they leave their phone behind? Just type 1 in the chat, right? How many people right now, if you left your house, leaving your phone behind, right? How many people would have a little bit of anxiety? How many people would turn around, go back and get the phone? Just type 1 in the keyboard. If the phone disappeared and it was out of your reach and you didn't have it in your pocket or didn't have it nearby, who would be experiencing a little bit of anxiety if this were the case, right? Remember, this is the most powerful computer in the world. In fact, I travel extensively throughout Southeast Asia, and in Southeast Asian countries, in third world countries, this is the #1 device that they connect to with the internet, right? They don't have tablets, they don't have computers, they can't afford them. But it's amazing how many people have got a smartphone with a screen that are using that to connect with the internet on the device in the third world, developing world. In China, which is, you know, I still consider a country that's in heavy development, right? In China, right, throughout Southeast Asia, Thailand, I've seen beggars on the street with iPhones. A beggar on the street with an iPhone hopping on the interwebs, right? So in the third world, it is probably the most powerful connection to the internet. In the first world, in the Western world, right, it is the #1 thing. 80% of the world's population has one of these devices. 80% of the world's population has one of these devices. That's frightening as to how important this piece of technology has become. Thank you to the early days of guys like Ericsson and Nokia and those companies. Thanks to them, this was what evolved from them, right? The screened phone, okay? Thank you to iPhone, to Steve Jobs when he launched the iPhone, where he showed that you could pretty much have your entire life on this device. That changed the world in the way that we behave and the way that we communicate. So understand from a point of view, thinking about this device from the point of view of business opportunity, right? A few people in the chit chat, don't forget the Palm Pilots. Yes, don't forget the Palm Pilots. Don't forget the Blackberries, right? Don't forget the brick. Yes, the original brick. In fact, before the brick, we had the super brick that we carried on in a handle that had the phone coming off. That was a super brick. In fact, back in the day, I got in on selling the very first super bricks, and we were selling the super. I was charged with the marketing. We had a client that sold the super bricks to lawyers, and we were selling super bricks at $8,000 to $10,000. In fact, the first brick we sold was $12,000 to lawyers. We literally made millions of dollars in sales selling the super brick phone to lawyers in the marketplace. That was a game. And the talk time, 20 minutes. That was your talk time. Charge time, 15 hours, right? Think of where we've come to today, where we can pretty much charge a device within the space of minutes. So understand that, yes, this has become the most powerful tool in the world. 80 to 90% of all search right now is done on a mobile device or a tablet device. 80 to 90% is done on a mobile device or a tablet device, right? Yeah, mobile device or a tablet. 80 to 90%, right? Think about what's going on, right? Now, here's the question, which way, right? How do we behave? What do we do? And what has changed in the way that we make decisions on mobile, right? So here's the thing. This is what's changed. Back in 2009, Google did a study, and in fact, it had a whole bunch of businesses that brought into the study. You can actually see this study on the internet. It's called ZMOT. The study was called the Zero Moment of Truth. Now, the zero moment of truth was when a customer, from the time of search to the time they made a purchasing decision, you could actually calculate that journey, right? So you can actually see from the time they started the search to the time they actually physically made the decision to buy, to hit the buy now, put the credit card in that moment. That was called the zero moment of truth, because that was the validation of a purchase, of a physical monetary exchange. That was the zero moment of truth, right? But here's the thing, buyer behavior. Back in 2009, for us to make a purchase on the internet or to make any purchase, we needed 5 frames of reference. So what would 5 frames of reference look like? Look at a couple of websites, get a referral from a friend, maybe hit a review site, right? See the product, see the price, buy. 5 frames of reference. I know what I want. I just need to find it. We would go, we'd find it, we'd see it. We didn't do too much shopping around in the early days. We'd just surprise that it was available online and we'd make a purchase. eBay, think eBay days, right? Zero moment of truth, 5 frames of reference before you made a purchase. What was eBay's model? To lift up the scarcity model, right? The more you pay, the more you're going to own this product. So it forced this upward auction of buying behavior. So quick buying decisions. Hey, let's put a bid. Let's put this bid in. Let's put this bid in. And then the person who had the highest bid ended up buying, right? So people try to game that whole system, that process, right? Look at the the auction buying places, right? Super fast decisions. 5 frames of reference. So back in 2009, 5 frames of reference. So here we are in 2020. And this is what's occurred. Right now, 30 frames of reference before we make a physical purchase. Now, when I saw this, I started tracking this about 5 years ago. And it's really funny. It went from 5 frames of reference to 10 to 15 to 20. When it got into the 20s, between 20 and 30, that seemed to accelerate in the last 3 to 5 years, right? 3 to 5 years. 30 frames of reference before we actually make a purchasing decision. So let me describe to you what this is like, right? So for example, I travel, those who know me, I travel extensively. My wings have been clipped at the moment because of the current circumstances. So it's been really nice being in one spot for more than 3 days, 5 days, but I travel extensively. And when you travel, when you're a traveler, you get into, I like travel tech and I like travel convenience and comfort, right? So for me, I was looking for one bag carry-on and what one bag carry-on I can find that I could fit at least 12 days worth of stuff to carry around, right? So carry-on, 40 to 45 litres, has to fit in the bins, international standards, easy to carry on, easy to carry off, never have to go and check baggage again, right? So for me, I was looking for the perfect carry-on. Now, the perfect carry-on was not a wheelie. The perfect carry-on was actually a backpack, a particular type of backpack. But here's what I did, like I'm saying, hey, I want to buy the carry-on, right? And so what I thought, okay, one bag carry, one bag travel, have to be able to travel for 2 weeks on one bag, 40 to 45 litres max, to find the best bag. So what I did my homework. I watched 17 YouTube videos describing backpacks to me and why they're the best carry-on to use. I went to about 18 different websites to go and find to send backpacks or carry-ons that I could buy. I looked at reviews. I looked at all sorts of stuff. This is to make a $250 purchase. No big deal, right? It wasn't a big purchase. But I spent, when I thought about how much time I spent to find the perfect bag, right? And by the way, I never found the perfect bag because now I have 4 of them. I have 4 perfect bags, right? No, sorry, 6, I tell a lie. I have 6 perfect carry-on bags, right? I only need to carry 1 at a time, right? I don't need 6, but I have 6 of them, right? Because I've got obsessed with, hey, 1 bag carry, let's get clever. But I had over more than 30 frames of reference before I went and spent that $250. Think about how much you search, what you look at. Right now, think about an email pops in your inbox. E-commerce sites are crazy doing this right now, right? When I say crazy, good crazy, but they're doing this. So send you an email. I'd love to know if anybody has experienced this. If you have, type it 2 in the chat. So you get an email from an e-com site you bought something from before, and they're giving you a discount opportunity, or they've got a highlighted product in their inventory they're doing a super deal on. So they send you an email, do the right thing, serve the customer, let your customer email list to buy first, make an offer. So what do? I open up the email, and then do I go straight to their website to buy the product? No, I don't. I go and search on who else is carrying that product, and maybe they can sell it cheaper than these guys, right? Who is doing the same product for cheaper, or who's doing free shipping. If they're charging me shipping and giving me the discount, but if somebody's selling me the same product at the same price point and free shipping, that's where I'm going to go. This is where loyalty has gone out the window. So what am I doing? I'm searching for best value. I've literally commoditized people's offer. So all of a sudden, my loyalty, I have no loyalty to the people I bought from, right? Depending on the customer experience. Right now, I'm looking for the best value, best deal. If you've got my attention, my first question is, where can I get this somewhere else? Same thing, delivered to either faster or cheaper in the market. So you've sparked my interest in the product, and now I'm going to go elsewhere and look at it. Now, sometimes I'm going to come back to you and you're the person that I'll buy the product from. So think about what I've just shared here, 20, 30 frames of reference. We are becoming so externally referenced. That means if we're externally referenced, we are losing our ability to trust our ability to make a decision. We need more and more and more and more evidence that we're making the right decision. This is dangerous because this boils down to shopping cart abandonment, inactivity, disengagement, right? Because we get overwhelmed, over confused. That trigger finger to buy is becoming less and less, right? So 30 frames of reference. So I'm going to give you an example. When we run events with Breakthrough, to get a person to show up to the event, we have to ask them 28 times, even though they've bought a ticket, right? We've had to ask them to come to the event 28 times to get their butt in the seat live and in person, right? 28 touch points to get them there, right? Think about, we're doing the Ticket for Good, the Consulting Unleashed, Sales Intensive and Blitz, right? I have sent out probably about 20 emails to my list. I've talked about it every day for the last couple of weeks. To people, some of you have bought tickets here, so thank you. Those of you who haven't bought tickets, by the way, I'm going to close this out in the next few days. We only have a few tickets left, right, for this. I've been mentioning it every day as I can, emailing, social media posting, talking to other people. Who do you know who needs to come? Multiple frames of reference. Some of you here had heard me with this message over the last 2 weeks and waited until yesterday to purchase the ticket. But I've been talking about this for 3 weeks, right? And you've been touch, see how it works? 30 frames of reference. This is the thing that's happening right now. If we have one touch point, one offer, one deal, we're dead in the water. That's why people need to see us, and we need to be visible often. So here's the thing. Average person has 200 channels that they consume from on this device. 200 channels that they consume from on this device. That's crazy, right? Think about that, okay, in the marketplace. Next, 1 in 5 minutes that people spend on a mobile device is on Facebook in the United States, on Facebook, Instagram. It's still very powerful. By the way, that has increased because of what's happened in lockdown. So our behavior has increased in the marketplace, right? Next, email, advertising, Facebook AdWords, and text are still the 4 biggest marketing strategies that work to acquiring customers right now. Email, advertising on Facebook or AdWords or Instagram, and text messaging are still messenger bot, text messaging, message type advertising marketing are the biggest marketing strategies for every business in the marketplace right now. Are you emailing? Are you advertising on mainstream media channels? And are you sending out or using text and messenger as part of your strategy, right? Biggest thing, if you're not doing this, and this is the biggest way that people acquire customers, there's a light bulb moment that occurs, right? So here's the thing, when ads come on, when people are on television, this is what we do. 55% of people are multi-screening on TV, looking at their devices, and they'll go to, this is a classic, they'll actually go and watch, or they'll go to browsers. 80% of people will go straight to a browser in the middle of watching television, right? So they're on Google search on their phone, right? 37% on social whilst they're on multitasking. 12% are gaming. They're gaming while they're watching television. I thought that's an interesting thing. SMS messaging, 10% to SMS, email for 4%. Right? Interesting figures right now in terms of people's behaviors, right? Exhibit, this is how mobile accelerates the time of purchase and can increase customer loyalty, right? Think about the fact that we have to pay attention to this. Every time this pings, every time this there's a reminder, a message, we pay attention. A messenger thing comes up on notifications. If we've got them on, boom, we have to look. Somebody sends a text message, we have to look. If we're sitting down with our friends in a restaurant, and have you ever been in a restaurant where your friends got their phone, and every time they get a ping, they keep looking at their phone like this in the middle of a conversation? They're completely distracted, right? Whenever that happens to me, I say, look, you know what? Obviously you're busy and we need to be somewhere else. So unless we can turn our mobile phones off and have a real conversation and not pay attention to this stupid screen, then I think if you're that busy, you need to go, right? There's no point in us sitting down. But this is where the attention grabber is, right? So here's the thing. The relative mobile experience built, if you make it easy for people to buy on mobile, if you make it easy for people in your user interface to engage with on mobile, you're going to get loyalty, right? Your loyalty will increase in terms of stature and strategy. Huge, huge opportunity, right? So I love this. Which devices do you use most to check personal emails? Check this out. Smartphone. In the United States, 75% of people check their email on smartphone. In the world, over 81%. And people, between 18 and 24, 81%. And get this, ages 35 and plus, 73% of people check their mobile device for email, right? Right now, let me just do a quick survey. Who here looks at their email on their mobile device? Who does that? Just type in one if you're constantly checking for email on your mobile device. We've got a few people picking off there. Yeah, absolutely, right? So get this, look at laptop, desktop, computer, lesser, and tablet lesser than. But that there is the #1 way to reach me on email right now in the world, right? So think about the behavior, okay? So people want results, not resistance. If you make it difficult for them to find you on this device, they won't bother looking. If you don't make it easy for them to navigate with you on this device, they won't bother buying or won't bother engaging with you, right? The more easier that you make it for people to engage with you on this device, right, the more easier you'll generate a lot more sales and engagement, right? So people want results, they don't want resistance, right? So what is your mobile buying behavior? So here's the thing, right? These are the questions I'm asking people, and this is literally opening up the sales conversation. So I was talking to a PT. I'm actually getting some treatment at the moment. I finally was able to go and see my PT, and these are the questions that I asked my physical therapist. And by the way, my physical therapist is not a client, but he soon will be, right? Because I asked these questions. I said, hey, what site do you search on mobile to find things? What do you do? He says, yeah, I'm on Google, right? I go look for Google, right? Have you ever used maps to find businesses? He goes, yeah, I use it all the time. So when you go to maps to find a business, is it just generally a business and then location? Yep. And then what's the first thing you look for? It says, yeah, opening hours. Are they open? Okay, great. So and naturally, you would probably make a choice of the top 5 or out of the top 5 or so to go to, yeah? He says, yeah. He says, when you look for people in maps, what's your likelihood, what's your percentage rate of showing up to that business? He says, well, if I'm looking for the map, I'm 80% sure I'm going to go there. Interesting, huh? 80%, if it's a location-based business, if I'm looking on the maps, he said to me, 80% chance I'm going to go to that business because I'm looking for it. I need to go there. I mean, I'm on maps. What do I need maps for? I need directions, right? That means I'm going to drive to that business or go to that business. I'm not even checking their website, right? But then I also asked him, hey, do you check websites through maps? He said, yeah, I do, right? Interesting, right? So what was the last purchase you made on your mobile phone? I asked him. He says, I got some Uber Eats last night. Okay, great. So you purchased it off the mobile? Yeah, we did it for mobile. What else did you buy? He said, I paid some bills. Did you buy anything else? He said, yeah, I bought a subscription to Netflix, right? I upgraded my subscription to multi-screen on Netflix, right? So you're comfortable paying for things on this device. Yeah. Do you multi-screen with your mobile? Is it sitting beside you when you're watching TV on Netflix? So yeah, absolutely, all the time. How often do you think you pick it up? So I pick it up heaps, right? Interesting, right? Do you check email on your mobile? Yeah, that's how I check my emails. That's how I get my emails, is my mobile, right? Right now, he says, I'm living off my tablet and I'm living off my mobile. He says, I don't check emails on my desktop. Interesting, right? Do you pay attention? So this is the last one, right? Do you pay attention to every text notification that comes up on your phone? He says, yeah, I'm constantly, if I've got that in my visibility and I see something come up, and if even I've got it on silent or vibrate, my mind goes to, I got to check that, right? He says, the only time that I'm not doing that is when I'm treating patients. I have to actually turn my phone upside down and turn it off so I can't touch it, right? But if it's right side up and I see a ping, it grabs my attention, right? So interesting that this is his behavior. So my next question is how does your customer search for you on their phone? Even Siri wants to get in on the act, right? How does a customer search for you on their phone? He says, well, they'll do what I do, go to Google. Let's go to Google, right? So we go to Google, physical therapy practice, location. His physical therapy practice doesn't even show up on maps because they don't even have a Google My Business. Interesting, right? Well, do you know XYZ PT? Yeah, yeah. Do you know ABC PT? Yeah. Do you know fitness PT? Yep. So yeah, they're all my competition in the area. Yeah, but I can't find you here. Why can't I find you on this device, right? Who do you think is going to get the phone call, them or you, right? The only reason I'm here is because I was referred to you. But if I was searching for you, I wouldn't be here. I'd be somewhere else. So do you need to pay attention to your mobile strategy to be found online, right? Do you want to make sure that you maximize your opportunity to be found? Because right now, I can't find you. And if I'm looking for a PT, I'm going to find you competition. In fact, your PT competition, they're the ones that are advertising. They're running ads right now. Are you running any ads right now? Can't see you running any ads right now for your location. You don't exist, right? Do you think you need to change your behavior? Do you think you need to look at your strategy? Do you think that 80 to 90% of people right now are searching on this device? And if I can't find you in my local market, you don't exist. I think we need to pay attention to that, right? This is the easiest conversation starter that you can ever have with somebody because it demonstrates the point. It demonstrates to them the reality of what's going on out there, right? Right now, if you're not visible, if you're not advertising, if you're not promoting, and you're not engaging people on this device that people are living more and more on, you don't exist. That means people are going to choose somebody else first. So my question to the PT is, do you want to be first choice or do you want ABC PT to be first choice? Which would you prefer? So if you want to be first choice, how important is it for you to make that a reality? It's very important. So let's look at a strategy on where we can make you first choice, where people can actually book and schedule their time with you on this device. And more importantly, that you become visible on Facebook feeds, and more importantly, filter people out so that you can actually make sure that you're attracting those patients that are the type of people that need your help, as opposed to them going to a chiropractor, an osteopath, or an acupuncturist, or a massage therapist, or somebody else. Right now, we want to make you first choice in the market, right? That little conversation, he said, this was his exact words to me. He says, John, we need to do this. I didn't realize until you showed me that how bad we are at marketing. How bad we are at marketing, right? Looking at my competition with ads, looking at the fact that they can be found and I can't be found. Now we're doing okay, right? But this Corona thing really hit us hard, right? And I know now why, we need to get our act together, right? Now, I could put anything in front of this person within reason if I could show the ROI and he would buy, right? That one little conversation has turned into a purchase, right? How do we make it easy for them to engage and to buy from you? That's a question that you want to ask. How are you making it easy? Let's go and check your website online. Now, most people understand that we have what we call mobile responsive websites. In fact, about 80% of websites right now are mobile responsive. However, mobile responsive doesn't mean mobile friendly. Because what happens with mobile responsive sites, of WordPress sites, all it does is squeeze the platform, right? It just squeezes the pro forma and pushes everything down. So you've got to go scroll, 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 scroll. So here's the cool thing. If I can't click a number at the very top of the screen to call you, then if I have to go looking for it, that's resistance. Resistance is friction. Friction, next. Remember, we are in the Tinder world. Swipe left, swipe right, right? Next. Makes it easy to call, right? Click to call, right? Right at the top. Some people have embedded their phone numbers in the image of their website. So you can't click that freaking number. So what are you going to do? You're going to interface between two screens. Oh, what's that number again? 3335, 3335. Oh, got to go open that screen. 5557. Friction, resistance, not going to call you. Don't make it easy for me to call. If you want me to pick up the phone and call, make it easy right now. How do you make it easy for me to engage and call? If I want you to buy something, the buy now button with the product and the category should be right there, right? If I provided an incentive, the buy now button, great. Buy with 20%, right, off. Now, buy now, boom, hit the button. But if I've got to go and scroll and find that button, right? Friction, resistance, you make it hard for me, swipe right, next, right? Our attention spans right now, 5 to 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, gone. If I can't make it easy for you, you lose, right? So what is your strategy right now in the market? How do you make it easy for people to engage? How do you make it easy for people to interact? This is the most powerful message that you can put out there in the market. Mobile apps right now, you can, the idea of brand loyalty. I remember a few years back, I worked with a business and we sat there and said, listen, you provide a level of service to the market that your customers need. The problem is they've got to go finding and searching you to find you. What if we actually just gave them an app and you were sitting there on their mobile device, on the tablets, and on their Chrome tabs, where they just get instant access, right? And then you just train them to use it, right? So what happened was a 30% increase in business because people had their app. They could have all their pricing details, their contact details, the phone numbers, everything was there at the click of a button, right? One app. Apps are going to grow, right? Business B2B apps on the rise. This right now, what's happened in our world has made us very dependent and very much looking at what our strategy is. Years ago when mobile was coming into its phase, right, coming to its own, people really struggled because there was so many things you could do on mobile, but now you can zero into key parts of the opportunity. So understand from a business strategy point of view, how do you make it easy? Right. When we design or when we look at user interface, we're always designing for mobile first, right? Video, very powerful on mobile. That's why you want to have lots of video happening, right? Engaging content, right? Things that people can watch, directing people, giving directions, making it easy from a user interface point of view. How do you make it easy for people to buy? If I'm pinching and scrolling and doing all this sort of stuff, I'm gone, right? But in what I've just shared with you, right? My question is, do you have a mobile strategy, right? I would imagine most of you probably don't have a mobile strategy, yeah? But think about if you don't have a mobile strategy, think about all your customers and all your prospects, they don't have a mobile strategy. That demonstration of walking somebody through their behavior, right, is a powerful way to get them to talk about the very thing you want to have a conversation with. And that is, let's do business together. Let's help you get mobilized. Let's help you be relevant to your customers in the marketplace. So, before I go on, biggest takeaway from what I've shared. What's the biggest takeaway you've had from what I've just shared? A whole bunch of people checking in. Yes, Michael, you did ask me the most dangerous question. Most dangerous question you can ask me is, what do I do? That's the most dangerous question you can ask me. Simon, on marketing services, buy now first or better a call when a VSL is attached. For me, it's like book a call. Well, what's the strategy? What's the action? So if we're going to do VSLs on a bring back the bricks, yeah. If we're going to do VSLs on a mobile device, right? What we want to do is you want people, like, what do you need them to do? Do you need them to call you? Do you need them to fill in a form to follow your process? What do you need, right? If you need somebody to talk to you, then you want to make it easy for them to just hit call rather than book a time. Yeah. If you need somebody to book a time and that's the way your process runs and they've got to answer a few questions, then you've got to encourage them to click that button, book a time, have your calendar right there on the mobile. Don't click the button to the calendar. In the video, you'll be saying, hey, you'll notice there's a few days here and you only want to make the next 3 days available. You want the time for a decision to get on the phone with you or get an appointment with you, no more than 3 or 4 days. Short-term cycle, right? So as part of your strategy, you want to make sure that if you're going to offer your calendar, don't offer a calendar with 20 days of doing appointments, right? You want to keep that short. So the only number that I would have would be the next 3 to 4 days, right? That's it, 3 to 4 days. So then they should be able to find a time. The other thing is, if you want to look busy, don't make lots of time available. Only give certain times available. Whenever I do a strategy for appointments, I only make 2 or 3 times for appointments available, depending on the strategy. Some strategies I'll make lots of availability. Other strategies I'll make scarcity 2 or 3 times as part of that strategy. Yeah. So, Chris, It's only getting more difficult if it seems difficult before to sell. I don't think it's getting difficult, Chris. I think it's the fact that technology is actually allowing us to make it easy to buy. You know, we're slowly removing the friction. I don't have to buy groceries at the grocery store anymore. I can get the groceries delivered to me, right? I don't have to go and pay my bills in person anymore. I can just do it online, right? So the convenience factor of being on a mobile device is super big. Remember, speed of distribution, speed of action, right? Remember, result, not resistance. That's what technology does. So I think it's making it easy for people to take the action. What is becoming difficult is to hold people's attention. So we have to become more creative in the way that we communicate, or we have to really understand our customers to be able to hold and grab their attention. You know, yesterday we talked about standing out from the crowd. How do you separate yourself from the herd? You know, finding that space where people go, I want to talk to you, right? So these are all the things that come up in this process. I'd love to know. So Shamil said, demonstrating the mobile user experience with prospects. It sells itself if they aren't mobile friendly. Yep. 80% use maps to find businesses. Absolutely. Which is crazy, right? Other takeaways that you've had from what I've just shared. Has a light bulb come open in terms of how you would start this conversation with somebody, right? Because I can tell you, if you want clients really fast, I'm going to give you a simple strategy to go and get clients today if you did this one thing. But before I share that idea with you, what other takeaways have you had from what I've just shared in this session with you? Yeah, very, very casual conversation. Yes, someone says a great idea. Asking lots of questions. Yeah, asking questions, right? The person who asks the questions is the person that's in control of the conversation, right? When I was asking those questions of my PT, he put himself in the customer's shoes. I let him walk in a client's shoes and said, if you don't have a strategy to help people in this way, what's going to happen? Because all these guys here, all your competition, they've got a strategy. It's not a great strategy, but they've started and you haven't, right? At the end of the day, if you want to maintain or you want to be visible, you want to be seen, you want to be chosen, then you've got to make it easy. You've got to put yourself in front of people to be chosen. Yeah. Leading the buying behavior, the easiest way to talk to a customer, absolutely. Leading with buying behavior is the easiest way to talk to a customer. You know, hey, what if we talk about buyers, not tire kickers? Yeah. Your PT was a warm lead. How would you? So, by the way, my PT was not a warm lead, James. Not a warm lead at all. This was a referral to me to that PT to make that booking. So somebody referred me to the PT. So they're not warm. They were not warm at all. They had no idea who I was. Right? I was coming to them and I was just curious and having conversation. Never met them before in my life. First treatment. Right? So I was the referral. They were not warm. Right? They were cold. Yeah. They were not expecting, by the way, my PT who was treating me was not expecting to be sold by me. Right? Was not expecting to have a sales pitch. Yeah. But now he is expecting a sales pitch. He wants the sales pitch. Yeah. So understand. So any other takeaways before I go into a really simple strategy? Any other takeaways? What have you learned? Whole bunch of people here. Damien Papworth, I'm going to be asking some questions of you in a moment. So if you can hang around, that'd be great. Hopefully you can hang around for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Any other questions? No, we're good. Okay, learned a lot. Awesome. All right. So let me, so much stats for mobile first. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So here's my thing, right? Here's the strategy, right? Anybody can do this, by the way. Anybody can do this. I've told my champions to do this, but anybody can do this, right? If you want, so Chris, mobile is more responsive, does not equal mobile friendly. Yeah, mobile responsive does not equal mobile friendly, absolutely. So here's a simple strategy. All of you can do this, anybody can do this. If you want to get a customer really quick, make some money, put some payola in the bank account, right? Forget about niche, forget about all this sort of stuff for a moment. We're just talking about going and getting a paying customer, right? My first question to you, and you need to think about this, is how does what you do impact on mobile, right? How does what you do impact on mobile, right? If you're running Facebook ads, that's a mobile strategy. You're running AdWords, that's a Google ads, that's a mobile strategy. Instagram ads, mobile strategy, right? You're doing lead management, attaching Facebook ads to lead management, sales funnels, that's a mobile strategy. You build a sales funnel on mobile, right? We've all seen it, right? Sponsored post or sponsored ad, right? Follow my sales path, give me some details, information, mobile funnel, right? It's no different to a website funnel, but you're just doing it on mobile. So think about how what you do impacts on mobile, right? How do you do it on a mobile as part of a strategy? So if you can do that, then here's the thing. What I'm going to ask you to do is, this is probably going to take about half an hour. And if it takes you half an hour, then add another 10 or 15 minutes on top of that to take it one step further. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write down all the businesses that you visit and use and buy from, both online and offline, all the businesses, your accountant, your dentist, your lawyer, your osteopath, your massage therapist, all the businesses. Write down who they are, the business that you go to, right? If you go to a regular store for your technology, right, purchases, if you go to, so who are the people that you interact with? Then write down all your friends, family, and associates, anybody who is actually running a business, right? Write down that list. So this is the first part of this strategy. The first part of the strategy is just write a list of all the people that you know in your sphere that you interact with, the businesses that you're interacting with, right? Where you get your car serviced, right? If you buy printing goods, or, what do you do, right? What do you do? Where did you buy your furniture from? All that sort of stuff. So think of the businesses that you go to or that you've been to in the last 3 to 6 months, well, maybe not last 3 months, but before that. Think of the business you went to purchase things, right? Think of the restaurants where you know the owner of the restaurant, your favorite restaurant that you go to, you know the owner of the restaurant. Think of that person, right? What I want you to do is I want you to write that list down. Now, if you really start thinking about this list, when you get to a point where you've capped out on the list, think a little bit further, right? Think a little bit further on. Look around you. What do you buy? Where do you buy those things, right? This is a list that you should be able to get in between 50 to 100 people on this list, right? It should not take you that long. About half an hour, max 45 minutes to do this one thing. And what I would like you to do, you're not going to approach this list, by the way. You're not going to approach all these people, but you need to write down all of these names, right? And what we want to do is we want to choose 3 people, right? 3 people, 1, 2, 3, right? 3 people that you know that you could have a conversation with. 3 people that you know that you could comfortably have a conversation with, right? 1, 2, 3, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to approach them with your idea. Say, hey, right now, I don't know how crazy this thing is, but let me show you how this thing turns your business with customers on fire, right? I'm talking to a lot of people and I'm realizing this is really important, and most people really don't have a strategy. I'd love to show you, right, how this thing is a game changer for your business, right? Can we sit down and have that conversation? And what you're going to do is you're going to ask all those questions that I asked before, right? All those questions that I asked before. You ask these questions here, right? What sites do you search on mobile to find things? Have you ever used maps? What's the last purchase you made? Do you multi-screen? Do you check email? Do you pay attention to every text notification, right? How does your customer buy? How do you think your customer buy, right? How do you make it easy for them to engage and to buy from you? And do you have a strategy right now? What if we actually showed you, what if we actually built a strategy for you? And maybe we can work together. I can help you put that together. This is one of the easiest ways. You should be, all of you who do this, who actually do this little idea, every single one of you should be able to pick up 1 customer in the next 72 hours. Every single one of you that does this strategy that I've just shared with you, remember, these people are familiar with you, so it's easy to talk to them. I know you're building a big list, right? But these 3 people, what you want is one of those people, or all 3 of those people, to say, hey, how can we work together to develop a strategy for you? How does what you do create an impact for them, right? Now, one of my champions did this yesterday, closed a deal with a client to run Facebook ads for a friend because he reached out to his familiar list and he's got a sale, right? So now he has a client just by doing this little exercise. So I know lots of people that do this and it works every time. If you have something you can demonstrate to people in alignment with, you don't even need a demo. You've got you ask them to use their mobile, right? But every single one of you can do this strategy, right? Now, I'm happy to answer any questions. Who likes the idea? Who's going to do this? Who's going to go and do what I just suggested you do? I'm just going to open up into the chat. Who's going to do it? Type 2 if you're going to do it. Type 2 if you're going to do it. Yeah, James is going to do it. Chris is going to do it. Only 2 people out of the so many people here are going to do this strategy. Like at the end of the day, I'm telling you, right? If you every single person here needs to put revenue in their bank account. I'm sharing with you one of the easiest ways on the planet with something so relevant, right? That it's so interactive, where you can put revenue in your bank account really fast by looking at this idea. How do I run an ad with these questions? I would not run an ad with these questions because I would have to tie it into a strategy, Lou. It has to be a strategy. So using these questions, it's almost like I've got to find the zinger. So these questions are more for an interactive conversation. To run an ad on these questions, I would have to test it. So to me, my question would be, Lou, to get the outcome would be the strategy. James says he's going to do it tonight. Sells insurance, awesome. Yeah. So John's going to do it. That's awesome. We've got a whole bunch of people. In fact, everybody's going to try this. What am I pricing for this? Whatever you want, Shamil. How much do you want to charge for this? I don't care. It's your business. You tell me, right? Whatever you want to charge. You want to charge nothing? Then get nothing. You want to charge $100? Get $100. You want to charge 1,000? Charge 1,000. You want to charge 10,000? Charge 10,000. Right? What am I pricing that at? I don't control your business. You run your business. Pick a price. Make an offer. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Shamil. Okay. So strategy, all good. Right? We've got a strategy. Now, I'm just going to go to this. If you haven't already, and I know a bunch of you here have bought tickets. If you bought a ticket, just type in 2 if you bought a ticket recently to this event, Consulting Unleashed Live. Shamil's in, just type in 2 on the keyboard if you bought a ticket, right? 2, Zaf has, John's got a ticket, yep. Who else? Howard's got a ticket. Chris, you got a ticket, awesome. Who else has bought a ticket to the event? Just type in 2. Oscar, I know you've got a ticket. I saw you, yes. Who else has got a ticket? James got a ticket, yep. So a whole bunch of you here has bought a ticket, and thank you for doing that because you've made a huge impact on a lot of people's lives. Brian's got a ticket. That's great to see. So here's the thing. If you haven't got a ticket, I only have 11 seats left. 11, 1-1. They will be sold out. In fact, they might even be sold out by the end of the day or in at least the next 24 hours. Once I sell out, I'm going to close the cart, close the doors for this particular event. This event is happening on Saturday, the 23rd of May, which is only 4 days away, 4 or 5 days away, right? Your $97 purchase is going to give you the recordings and the slides. We're going to do a sales blitz strategy, going to walk you through lead source, hottest niche market intelligence, how to get into them, over 20 tested campaigns that I'm going to give you that you can run out to message to the market. Even going to do some crafts of live campaigns on the actual training. 5 simple step sales process. If you follow this sales process, it's really weird. I walked through the sales process just before this meeting with somebody, and I didn't even give them the price, and they just said, I'm in. I walked them through this sales process. I didn't even give them the price. I don't care. I'm in. Just send me the payment link, right? So I'm going to share that strategy and that process with you. How to close a sale with an agreement and a payment on the spot. So how you make it easy to get somebody to sign a legal agreement, an agreement to go ahead with you and to pay you on the spot. Going to walk you through that process. Service fulfillment done for you, Damien Papworth. Plan to close 6 deals in 60 days. That's the plan. All the recordings and results are going to be provided to you. But here's the most important thing. This is a web event for good. We are becoming involved in sustainability, global sustainability projects, and I've chosen 3 social programs to invest in with the $97 ticket for the purchase. So when you buy a ticket, your ticket is going to give 10 families access to a solar lamp for solar lighting in their home, so they don't have those that don't have electricity. 5 women are going to get vocational jobs training, vocational training experience, so they can support their families and gain some independence. And we're going to pay for the education. You're going to pay for the education for one child, an underprivileged, disadvantaged child, for an entire year. That's what this $97 ticket purchases, right? So if you want to be part of this blitz, this web event, this masterclass on accelerating the process of sales, please go to consultingunleashedlive.com. Like I said, I will close the doors. It will be gone. But the key here is I wanted to be able to impact on thousands of people's lives. You already have impacted on thousands of people's lives from the tickets, which I'm super excited about. In fact, I'm more excited about the impact of what this event will be than the actual event itself, although I'm pretty excited about having you all there with me. But if you haven't bought it, I would highly encourage you to go to consultingunleashedlive.com. $97 is going to do a lot of good for a lot of families around the world. And you're going to get some amazing strategic stuff, walkthroughs, very pragmatic and practical things that you can do and apply to go and generate business for yourself. So if you go to consultingunleashedlive.com, grab yourself a ticket. I will close this out. I'm not joking. Once the doors are closed, you will not be able to buy a ticket. You'll not be able to message me to get a ticket. You will get access to a members area, which has already got some training in there right now as a bonus. This will be where the recordings and the slides will be placed after the event. I'm not going to be selling the recordings and the slides after the event. You are not going to be able to buy this. So this is your one shot to get access to this. So if you haven't bought a ticket, I would highly encourage you to go to consultingunleashedlive.com and grab a ticket. With where are you, Damien? I'm just going to grab you, my friend. Hey, Damien, you there?
Can you hear me, John?
I've got you, mate. How you doing?
Good. Yourself?
I'm good, mate. So we have Damien Papworth here from Global Marketing, who's been a regular here, who's been very supportive of some of the work that we're doing here at Consulting Unleashed. The reason why I'm showing him to Damien is he's kind of at the cutting edge of the behavior of what agencies are selling and doing out there in the marketplace and seeing what's happening. And I guess for me, from time to time, Damien's been very generous and kind to share some of those insights. So can you give us an update of what's happened in the last couple of weeks or over the last couple of weeks of what you've seen and perhaps what direction some things are going to in the marketplace?
Yeah, sure. So I think in the last 2 weeks particularly, we've seen a big step up in new projects coming on across our platform. And we've also seen a broadening of the industries that are buying marketing again. We're even starting to see a bit of tourism operators buying marketing at the moment. But the guys that are buying it, they seem to be the bigger guys, the resorts, you know, the holiday parks, not the smaller operators who are probably a bit more hand to mouth. Last week we saw a big drop off in cancellations. So cancellations almost completely stopped last week, which is quite positive. And I think I think looking at what's going on too, I think people are starting to, I don't know, you know, I've got the feeling people are starting to realise there's a bit of money in the pocket, and some of the like decor shops are starting to come through, you know, furniture shops and that kind of stuff. So, and solar's been quite common all the way through. So people are actually using their money a little bit. I actually went out with my wife on Saturday and we bought a bed. So we had a bit of money and we thought, well, we haven't bought a new bed for 20 years. So we've upgraded our bed. And I think that kind of thing's starting to happen. You know, people are just starting, well, we need this. Let's just do it now when there's a little bit of money with in the bank. So.
Very cool. So retail's coming back in, solar's coming back in. How many new projects did you launch in the last 2 weeks? Can you give us just a rough idea?
Yeah, so we're averaging about 40 a week at the moment. Not last week we only had 6 cancellations or something. The week before that was still a little bit higher. That was around 20 or so. But as I mentioned last week, you know, the cancellations we had in the previous 3 weeks seemed to be issues with digital agencies, not the actual underlying businesses. But one thing that's really surprising me, John, is what hasn't kicked in is people restoring old projects. Like the people who have cancelled because of panic or because of fear or because of they feel the need to hold on to cash. They haven't come back into the market yet. Like as I mentioned, we dropped 170 odd campaigns in 2 weeks. And we've had a lot of other cancellations. That was the initial 2 weeks. Of those, only 20 have come back. So we've probably lost over 200 and only 20 have come back. And I'm expecting, you talked about the mini boom from June onwards for 3 months.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a lot to come back in June.
Yeah. June's going to be a big month because a lot of lockdowns opening up. A lot of people are coming back into the market. All the stimulus packages are starting to hit. The first wave of the packages is starting to hit the bank accounts right now. Yeah. So there's money coming back in. So people are going to start to get into a level of behaviour. Although, again, we don't know what that's kind of looking like. I went to a mall last week and I couldn't believe how busy it was. Not all the stores were open. In fact, in some cases, I'm kind of sad because I don't believe the reason why a lot of the stores haven't opened that had the opportunity to open is because they didn't have any staff to put in the stores to manage them. The reason why they're not opening is not because they don't want to, is that they just don't have the people to open the stores. So because they had to let people go and then trying to get those people back and moved on or whatever happened, I think that's something that's going to have an impact or has an impact on retail or businesses coming back. So I thought that was really interesting. But what I did see is because those other stores were closed, all the other stores were freaking busy. There were lines of people out front of stores because obviously with social distancing practices, but people were willing to stand in a line. And I'm not talking for 5 minutes, I'm talking 20 minutes, 30 minutes standing in a line waiting to get into a shop, into a store, right? So that gap of the market missing out that have gone by the wayside and the collection of that market by those people who stayed open or who are opening up, I saw that in a real life demonstration, right? So it'd be really interesting to see what sort of buying behaviors people are going to go into. I actually had the good fortune to drive out into a light industrial area the other day. Every business was open. It was really interesting. All the cars were out in the car park. Every business was open. There were even some businesses that put out big banners and signs saying we are open for business. So I thought that was really interesting. So lots of business right now. The only way that people have to turn, and I'm noticing even through my champions, through some of the champions in the discussions we've had, they're starting to have a lot of discussions around, hey, we need to look at our strategy of what we're doing online. We need to look at what's going to work in Facebook, what's going to work on Google Ads, what's going to work on SEO. They're starting to get those questions of right now we didn't look at this properly. Now we need to actually look at a strategy and look at a structure to do this. And some of our champions are charging $2,000 to $4,000 or $5,000 just to have that conversation. Headley, one of our champions in the Northern Territory, 7 clients, $5,000 just to have a conversation of what needs to be addressed, what needs to be done. And this is a web development agency. They're charging $5,000 to have a conversation about what your digital footprint is going to look like, right? And by the way, clients are absolutely willing to pay this because right now they have no plan, and so they need one. So, Damien, thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
mate, need to connect with you. I'm going to get on the phone with you tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Just one other point too, John. One of the things that I find quite interesting is obviously the agency business model should be one based on monthly recurring revenue. That's what makes a strong agency. Yeah. It's interesting, like talking to my friends in business, some of them are, very high executives in listed companies on stock markets through the world. Some of them are just, in different levels, but not everyone has this monthly recurring revenue style of business. And, a lot of the retail guys that hold stock in warehouses, what they tend to do is they'll invest $100,000 in stock, and then they've got 90 days to see how often they can resell that stock. And that's what they measure, the number of times they sell that stock. And that's a super different business model than what we have. And I just raised that because, walking around doing a bit of shopping with Moana on the weekend and Sidewood Surf. I bought 2 hoodies for $25 a piece. I got for less than $50 because they got 60% off now. So some of these retail outlets, they're thinking I'm 2 months behind the 90 days of recycling stock
Yeah.
through my store. So your approach, you know, if we actually understand what the business model of these businesses are, we can actually start to apply a little bit of a different approach that is more meaningful for them. You've talked a lot about the buyer's journey. Our buyers are these business owners. And so how do we make it more relevant to them? You know, if they're not looking for monthly recurring revenue, they're looking for numbers of times that they're selling the same thing. You know, car salespeople, they work on the same. They want to sell that car 4 times in a month kind of thing. It's a different approach we've got to take to talking to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, now they're trying to keep up. They're trying to catch up to what they've lost. So they want to double the speed of sales through their businesses. So how can we help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, you're right. All of those things, people need to clear their inventory. I told the story last week of the fitness equipment company that didn't let everybody know that they were a fitness equipment company, but they had millions of dollars worth of inventory to sell out the door, right? And so they need to move that inventory. Like you say, they get into that buying cycle every 90 days of having to move inventory. And seasons, like think of, like we've just lost in Australia, we've just lost fall season for retail. We just lost it. In these 3 months that we've essentially lost that. So all the product out there that's on the shelves isn't in season. So all that has to go somewhere. All that has to be cleared out. So people actually have to be, you know, running fairly severe promotions to be able to move that stock as quickly as possible. Yeah.
So it's just, and so with that in mind, with that in mind, you've said this a number of times, saying to people, like, do you need some help getting more leads, isn't probably going to work. Imagine you just have that slight change in approach and say, hey, you got a 60% sale. Do you need help moving your stock? You know, just tiny little changes. Think about what they're doing.
Can we get rid of your inventory? Yeah. That's a great pitch, by the way, Damien. One of my favorite pitches is, hey, you know what? Forget about leads. Let's get rid of your inventory. Can we get rid of your stock? Right. And they go, yeah, I want to get rid of my stock. Great. Let's talk about a strategy for that. Right. So, yeah. So thanks, mate. I really appreciate you hopping on, and thank you for sharing the intelligence. And I really appreciate the support on this, mate. So take care, mate. And I will be talking to you today if I can.
Awesome.
Sooner rather than later, my mate.
I'm around.
All right, mate. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. So if you haven't already, I'm happy to answer a question. Otherwise, I'm going to say thank you for being here. Michael says coronavirus is to business like Cretaceous period asteroid was the dinosaur. Malls are probably dead. I don't think malls are going to be dead. I don't think they're going to be dead, Michael. I think we're going to go back to the malls. Malls are a social thing. We want social connection. I'm seeing, will the malls ecosystem change? Absolutely, it's going to change. Will the strategy for how to make malls work be different? Absolutely. But I don't think malls are going to be gone anytime soon. There's too much real estate invested in that. Thank you, James. I appreciate you saying this is awesome. The answer to that question is yes, James, I can. Evolution of the business, thank you. What would 5,000 Australia session be structured? Asking a whole bunch of questions about what's going on, what isn't going on, where are you at, and then where you're going to go to. That's what people are paying $5,000 for, Chris. It's really simple. What's happening right now? What's the history? What's the current situation? What do you want the future situation to be? And what do we have to put into place to actually make that happen? There's a really cool piece of software that I'm not going to mention here. It's something that I share with champions, where you can literally sit down with a client and map all this out, and it looks amazing. It looks very real. But only our champions can have access to that. But that's what people are paying $5,000 for. Sitting down, talking about what their future plans are, basically, and what needs to happen, what action needs to happen, and what are the things that are going to have the biggest impact or the fastest impact on growth, Chris. So thank you for asking the question. So with that, I do have another meeting to go to. Same time, same bat channel, AM Australian Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. LA time tomorrow for another session. If you haven't already, go to consultingunleashedlive.com, buy a ticket. We only have 11 seats left, and I know they're going to go. So we may close this out by the end of the day, or I'm hoping to close this out in the next 24 hours. But really looking forward. Thank you to those who are here, who are buying, who've bought tickets. Looking forward to Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. And for those thinking about it, don't think too long, because I will shut this, close this out. And you will not be able to buy the replays, and you will not be able to get the slides because I'm not selling them publicly. I'm going to keep that fairly close to those people who've made this investment to attend. So $97 is a very small price to pay, and $97 has a huge impact on some sustainable projects where we are going to be helping some amazing families and children have education for a year. So if you want to be part of that, jump on, go to consultingunleashedlive.com and grab a seat. With that, I want to thank you for being here. This video is going to go to our YouTube channel. It's going to go to our Consulting Unleashed Facebook group. You'll be able to see the information, the strategies, the tactics, and what I've shared, and the questions that I've answered. With that, I want to thank you for being here, and I will see you same time, same bat channel tomorrow, which will be 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Take care, everybody.